Every day you pay a tax, but you never see the bill. You never receive a notification. No invoice, no warning, no reminder at the end of the month. Yet you pay it anyway. It reduces your savings. It increases your expenses. It reshapes your plans. It quietly alters your future. And most people never question it. This is the silent tax, inflation. When the government raises taxes, people react immediately. They debate it. They argue about fairness. They analyze percentages. When fuel prices increase, people notice the next day. When groceries become expensive, people talk about it at the checkout line. But when inflation slowly reduces the value of every dollar you own, it feels normal, almost invisible, like background noise. You feel prices rising, but you rarely connect it to the shrinking value of your money. Your salary might increase, your savings might grow, the numbers might look bigger, but bigger numbers don't automatically means greater wealth. Inflation doesn't take from you suddenly. It doesn't shock the system overnight. It operates gradually, predictably, silently. And because it is slow, it feels acceptable. 5% this year, 3% next year, 6% after that. Small enough to ignore, large enough to compound. Over time, that small shift changes everything. The same lifestyle costs more. The same goals require more capital. The same retirement plan needs recalculating. Yet, you rarely receive a message saying your purchasing power has declined. You just adjust, you pay more, you work longer, you save harder, and the silent tax continues. Here is what most people misunderstand. Inflation is not just prices going up. Inflation is the gradual reduction of your currency's purchasing power. It affects everything. Your rent, your food, your insurance, your transportation, your healthcare, your savings, your retirement projections. Even if your income increases, if prices rise faster, you are still losing ground. Now, let's look at something important. Governments do not usually say, "We are reducing the value of your money." Instead, they expand the money supply. More money in the system, more liquidity. More currency circulating through banks, markets, and institutions. When more money competes for the same goods and services, prices adjust. Not because companies are evil, not because stores are greedy, but because supply and demand respond to the amount of money available. Think about this. If there are 100 apples and $100 in the system, each apple might cost $1. But if suddenly there are $200, only 100 apples, the price adjusts. Not because Apple changed, but because money changed. That difference is the silent tax. Now here is the uncomfortable part. Inflation benefits someone. It reduces the real value of debt. If you borrowed money years ago, inflation makes the debt easier to repay because you repay it with weaker dollars. Governments are large borrowers. So are corporations. So are homeowners with fixed rate loans. Inflation helps debtors. It hurts savers. If you keep cash in the bank, inflation reduces its real value. If you hold long-term fixed income with low returns, inflation erodes it steadily. But if you own assets that rise with prices, productive businesses, diversified markets, real assets, you are better positioned. Sometimes protected, sometimes even advantaged. Let's talk about psychology. A visible tax hurts immediately. If the government charges you 10%, you feel it. But if inflation reduces your purchasing power by 5% per year, you barely react. No official statement arrives. No deduction appears on your payslip. It just slowly happens. And because it happens slowly, it feels manageable. Over 1 year, 5% feels small. Over 10 years, it changes your entire financial position. At 5% inflation, prices roughly double in about 14-15 years. Something costing $1,000 today could cost $2,000 within your lifetime. Your money must grow accordingly, or you fall behind. This is why inflation is often called a hidden tax. Not voted on directly, not clearly itemized, but paid by everyone holding idle cash. And the more disciplined you are about saving, without investing or owning productive assets, the more exposed you become. Now let's be clear. Some inflation is considered normal. Central banks often target around 2%. They argue it supports economic growth, encourages spending, encourages investing, prevents deflation. And to some extent, a small, controlled level of inflation can stabilize an economy. But inflation is rarely perfectly controlled. It fluctuates, it accelerates, it reacts to policy shocks and global events. And when it rises faster than expected, confidence can shift quickly. The real issue is not whether inflation exists, it is whether you understand it. Because once you see it clearly, you stop measuring wealth only in currency. You start asking better questions. Is my money growing faster than inflation? Are my assets protected against currency erosion? Am I relying only on stability while the system keeps expanding? Doing nothing is still a decision. Holding only cash is still a strategy, but every strategy has consequences. Inflation rewards movement, it rewards ownership, it rewards participation in growth, it weakens idle capital. The silent tax does not destroy wealth overnight. It reshapes it slowly, from savers to assets owner, from fixed income to variable growth, from those who wait to those who adapt. This doesn't mean abandoning savings. It means understanding their role. Savings provide stability, assets provide expansion. You need both, but in the right proportion. In the long run, inflation is not just an economic concept, it is a filter. It separates those who understand how money works from those who only trust the number on their bank statement. Once you recognize the silent tax, you stop reacting emotionally to price changes. You begin positioning intentionally. You move from passive exposure to strategic ownership, and that shift compounds over time. In the next video, we go deeper. If saving alone is not enough and inflation is constant, what exactly should you own? What protects you when currency keeps losing value? Because once you understand the silent tax, you stop paying it blindly and start standing on the right side of it.